welcome to the NewsX Sunday Guardian Roundtable. This week we are discussing the political fallout against the amendments in the SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Act. If you recall, in March this year, the Supreme Court had diluted the said act. It had put in safeguards which prevented the immediate arrest of any person against whom an offence had been registered against this act. This led to a huge outcry. Political parties also joined in saying that this is actually a dilution of the act and something should be done about it. Well, the Modi government did do something about it. In fact, all the parties in parliament have passed an amendment restoring the act back to its original status. To discuss the impact of this, because after that there's been a huge outcry by the upper caste who see this act as being too dictatorial. To discuss the political impact of this, I have with me, joining me on the roundtable, Sanjeev Acharya, he's a senior journalist, Radhika Ramaseshan, consulting editor with the Business Standard, Devashish Jararia, he's an expert on Dalit issues, and Professor Madhav Nalapat, editorial director of the Sunday Guardian. Professor Nalapat, I'll begin with you. We've seen the fallout that has happened, especially in Madhya Pradesh, which is going to polls very soon. There's been an outcry against the chief minister and against even the Congress party leaders. So it seems as if all the parties are being blamed by this by the upper caste.
Well, I'd like to point out there is still a considerable difference between upper caste and Dalits in terms of economics and sometimes in terms of social perception. It's a reality of life, and therefore to equate the two is, in my view, wrong. So I think what the government did was absolutely correct. Supreme Court, well, it gave its own judgment. But the reality is that any dilution of that act would have significantly weakened the power of the Dalits to ensure that justice is done to them in the instances in which injustice takes place. And there's quite a lot of that. I agree it may be misused off and on, but the fact that it's misused off and on cannot be a reason to dilute it completely.
Sanjeev, you've come from Madhya Pradesh, and you were there last week, and I remember talking to you, you pointed out that this is going to have a huge impact on the elections, and we are seeing that impact happen. Who is it going to damage the most?
I think, you see, there has been resentment among the upper caste, not because of only this SC/ST, because of reservation. And to some extent, Vyapam and other things, the parents, they are, middle class and mostly upper caste, Brahmin, Baniya, Rajput, Kayas, they are upset. They are upset because of the future of their kids. And at the same time, this is happening, and there have been cases registered against people.
But Radhika, there is a huge vote bank. There is a reason why all the parties are supporting this. If you just look at the case of Madhya Pradesh alone, out of the 230 seats, at least 47 are reserved for STs, 35 for SC candidates. The percentage of SCs is 15%, while STs is 18 to 19%. So there is a huge chunk that the people are trying to pander to. Hence, all the parties have supported the amendment.
Yeah, you mentioned the number of seats. I would imagine that these vote banks, Dalits and tribals, would go beyond these seats, because there are very strong belts where, there are belts where they are very strong. But Madhya Pradesh has been a relatively sedate state in terms of manifestations of caste empowerment, caste outrage. I mean, I'm surprised that for the first time, the upper caste, the Brahmins, have come out on the streets and protesting, or demanding their rights, whatever they are. One reason could partially be the fact that Shivraj Singh Chauhan, an OBC chief minister, has been around for 15 years. And if a chief minister is from a particular caste or community, it's but natural that he's going to pander to the rights and interests of the caste he belongs to. However, that doesn't seem to be the only reason in Madhya Pradesh. I mean, you had the parliament restoring the amendments to the SC/ST Act, which the Marathas in Maharashtra were dead against. I mean, and the Congress, the government in Maharashtra for a while looked like it was trying to please the Maratha lobby because they were out on the streets. But my belief is that this act needs to be strengthened, especially in its execution. I mean, for the first time, I actually saw it working when Mayawati was the chief minister of UP in her first stint. She really implemented the act, and the number of convictions of under rape, especially under rape, went up. So people thought that more rapes were being committed in the Mayawati regime. That was not so. It was just that more FIRs were being registered, more cases were being followed up, and some convictions took place. Not entirely, but some convictions. And of course, predictably, every election that followed Mayawati's stint in government saw the upper caste outraging and voting against her, especially in 2012 when Akhilesh won with a huge mandate. I mean, the upper caste, every upper caste person you spoke to said he was a victim of the SC/ST Act. But if you ask him what was done exactly, they couldn't say. They said, "Bas humko usme arrest kar diya hai," but they couldn't say exactly what was cited in the FIR or in the case, in the charge sheet, and so on. You know.
So it's used and misused by both sides when it's needed.
Every statute is used and misused. You know.
But you will, Devashish, I kept you for the last because I wanted you to hear everything, and I know that you will probably agree with Radhika that it needs to be strengthened and disagree with Sanjeev, knowing you.
First of all, why it happened in Madhya Pradesh only? It was not in Madhya Pradesh, it was in certain belts. You need to understand this Gwalior, Chambal, Anchal, it's very close to Uttar Pradesh. And the assertion movement, you have seen the Saharanpur, you have seen the Meerut, they were boiling. Western UP was boiling at them, and that connectivity through Agra comes to Madhya Pradesh to do that Gwalior, Chambal region also. I also want to correct you on the caste census. SCs are around 16.5% and STs are 22.5%.
So more than what I said, hence
exactly.
the need.
And 51% OBC. So that constitutes 90% vote chunk. And major chunk of upper caste, that powerful upper caste, you will find in this Gwalior chunk. So that assertion movement which was in Uttar Pradesh is closely related with this Gwalior Chambal belt, because I am from that belt. The BSP movement, the Kashira movement, the social movement is very powerful in these regions. That is why when the 2nd April came, it became the issue of nose, the naak ka issue sawal ban gaya between the upper caste and the lower caste. For the lower caste, it was an assertion movement that, okay, we have lost the power, we are 0 seats in a major chunk of the community which is connected with BSP feel that we have 0 seats in this, and all these whole atrocities which have increased in last 4.5 years of Narendra Modi, that created anger among that community. And against that anger, this upper caste sensitiveness, because I think we all know what is the reality of the police stations. The thanedars, how they treat it, how they treat Dalits. Even if I said so many people are sitting over here, if they want to register an FIR, say that I am a Dalit and so person have committed atrocity on me, and I'm guaranteeing you on the first stand that thanedar will not even hear you. That is the reality of this country. We need to accept it. People says that, oh, the conviction is rate is low, so people get vindicated. People comes out clean. That is because the system needs to be clean.
No, see,
the police reforms must be there.
I agree with you, but yet there are a whole lot of people within the BJP also who are not very happy with the fact, you know, at the end of it comes back to numbers and caste vote banks. Kalraj Mishra has spoken against it. A whole lot of BJP leaders are saying that this is the self-goal.
Exactly. No, it's not the self-goal. BJP is playing very smartly. In this whole Savarna movement, I am telling you the BJP leaders are involved. I am quoting you Naren Kushwaha, a BJP leader, who is also an MLA. His own son got arrested into it. So one hand, they want to capitalize the sentiments of the Savarna, saying that we are with you. We are with you. And on the other hand, the OBC Chief Minister says that nobody can dare to touch reservation. And I am going to implement reservation in promotion also. So they want to keep both sides intact with them. And Congress is getting into this trap.
Who is, the question I asked Sanjeev, who is this going to impact more? You know, who's going to lose more out of this?
Well, look, ultimately it depends on the economic situation. And the big problem now is that there are only government jobs.
Yes.
The reality is when Narasimha Rao came and did his reforms, there was an expectation among people that you can have private sector jobs, you need not depend on government. As a consequence, upper caste people who tend to be a little more, you know, historically more educated, etc., they felt they can go into the private sector. They were not so concerned about reservation. The Mandal fever died down. Today, let's be honest, the economy is not looking good. It may be looking good on statistics, but in reality, there's no money in the market. There are no jobs. There's no optimism. As a consequence, as you said, parents are getting worried about their children. Now, if I can't get my son or daughter a job in a government institution, there's no other institution. And the government is also working very hard to collect as many taxes as it can. They're raising the price of petrol, they're collecting all kinds of taxes, they've got a huge volume of GST, very high GST numbers. So they're collecting these taxes, obviously to grow the government sector. Now, that is why now, once again, it has become in a sense pre-reform. The atmosphere is now pre-reform. The atmosphere is the same as during Mandal, when the only hope was government.
Mandal reminds me of another thing. VP Singh implemented Mandal, but at the end of the day, the lower caste votes, the SC votes, they all went to leaders stabbed like a Mulayam or a Lalu or a Mayawati. VP Singh really didn't gain anything from those votes. So, can the BJP hope to gain anything?
BJP, I will say rather ki na khuda hi mila na visale yaar sanam. This situation is for them like that. एक हाथ में है और दूसरा पकड़ने के लिए उसको भी उड़ा रहे हैं. You see, first they allowed Dalits to be beaten up on the roads. Well, and then now they are trying to, amend this act and pass it to Parliament. Congress, as I said earlier also, Professor Nalapat was saying very right economically, but when it comes to politics, Indian voters, they vote on the emotional issues, on the basis of emotion. And it has become an emotional, I am telling you. You go to the rural areas or urban areas in Madhya Pradesh especially or Rajasthan, you see the kind of agitation people took part in. So same thing, BJP at present, they can't openly support this and they are not openly supporting it. Some of their leaders, whom they can't win their constituency because it is a upper caste, vote bank is upper caste. So only few of them are coming openly. Otherwise, they are keeping mum, just said Devashish, because of the percentage of SC/ST voters there in Madhya Pradesh. So that's why they are not. So I think for them it is a very catch-22 kind of situation. They can't do anything at present. BJP is losing in this battle, I think so.
Okay, after the break, we're going to discuss how the Congress is handling this, because don't forget, a Congress spokesperson recently made a very interesting comment saying that the DNA of Congress is Brahmin. How are they going to handle politics of this? So stay with us. Hello and welcome back to NewsX Sunday Guardian Roundtable. We are here discussing the political fallout of the amendments to the SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Act. Radhika, before the break, we were discussing how the BJP is handled it. But what about the Congress at a time where they are saying the DNA of Congress is Brahmin? Yet I remember Rahul Gandhi, he reacted to the Supreme Court's dilution saying that, a government where Dalits are being beaten up, now this is happening. Why is the government not doing anything about it? So Congress is also playing its own game.
Look, in Madhya Pradesh, if we are just looking at Madhya Pradesh, because that's going to elections immediately, the Congress has a very strong contenders in both the Gondwana party, Gondwana Gantantra Parishad, as well as the BSP, and even Samajwadi exists in Bundelkhand. So and of course the BJP has the OBC votes in its pocket. I have to say, despite whatever others have been saying, the BJP was very smart in the post-Mandal phase. It promoted a whole lot of OBC leaders as chief ministers, starting with Kalyan Singh, and it managed to regroup a captive vote bank, which is what has helped it so far in Madhya Pradesh. The BJP and the RSS, they are extremely worried about the Dalits, because they thought in the last elections, once the Dalits came, they would co-opt the Dalits and have this grand Hindu Samaj. That has clearly unraveled after the Bhima Koregaon uprising. So it's if you are looking at say Madhya Pradesh, then it's not a very attractive picture for the BJP or the Congress, because the Congress has competitors and it will have to work very solidly to convince the Dalits that it also has their interests in mind, but the days of co-option are unfortunately over. So the Dalits will make their choices very carefully, will look at which party can guarantee them their rights and interests and so on. And I don't think they'll straight away root for Congress if the BJP is not an option.
The right option.
There's a philosophy behind it. There is a philosophy behind it. When we call assertive movement, Assertive movements means you need a share in power. Now, any party, any political party who's led by a particular think tank, particular ideological person, they don't want to share that power. In Pradesh, in electoral politics, you want a Dalit or a tribal or a ST, that he should keep quiet. He should be not very proactive. He should be very convenient. And when if you find a person, if you find a Dalit or Adivasi who's asking question, now at this point of time you are seeing that people have gained knowledge. Okay, this post 91 reforms, they economically improved their status. Now they have gained the power, stature to ask questions. And now the youngsters who are asking questions, they want a share of power from these political parties, even from the Congress.
So they don't want patronage from
exactly. So now whether it is Surjewala, whether it is any Brahmin, they are born and they are brought and born in that particular ideology. Now, I'm surely if any OBC leader would have been there, and a Dalit leader would have been there, and an ST leader would have been, he would not have made this statement. I'm telling you, when the religious politics is on upsurge, the caste politics is contrary is going to come, because Indian society is like that. So if you have to beat BJP on the religious agenda, you have to work on caste coalition. Yeah, that's social security things. Now, Congress is not working on that.
That's the problem. Which Akhilesh and Mayawati are, as we saw in Gorakhpur and Phulpur.
Well, I'd like to say that Akhilesh and Mayawati seems to me like a very strong combination. Radhika would basically be the expert on this.
Correct.
But in my view, I think they would do extremely well in Uttar Pradesh. And if the Congress party is smart, they would offer them a good deal in Rajasthan and in Madhya Pradesh and in Chhattisgarh, so that they get some entry into UP. And then you have a coalition for these Hindi-speaking states, if the Congress party did a smart thing. But I would like to say, I never knew that Alan Octavian Hume was a Brahmin. I had no idea Annie Besant was a Brahmin. I had no idea Dadabhai Nauroji was a Brahmin. And nobody told me that Mahatma Gandhi was born a Brahmin. I didn't know any of these people
I think Surjewala needs to answer.
Brahmins.
A small point from Madhya Pradesh. A new power among the tribal Dalits, the tribal population is also emerging. JS, Jai Adivashi Yuva Shakti. And this is a young movement from the social media, and they are gaining a huge importance. And they even have challenged the Godwana Gatantra party. And the leader, he's my very good friend, Hirala Lalawa. He's an AIMS doctor who left his job and went to work in the tribal belt. So these people are coming around, and they say that okay, we are looking to change the narrative. We want to throw out BJP of the power. But for whom we have to look. We can't go, if we talk with Congress is with the same feudal mentality. They don't want to share the share of power with us. So now they are trying to look for their separate path. So Madhya Pradesh is changing. The narrative of Madhya Pradesh politics is changing, and both parties, BJP and Congress, have to adapt that change.
Let's ask someone who knows Madhya Pradesh politics also very well.
I'll say, you see, Congress also understands this, that at present they may not gain much in this state, I tell you, but they are eyeing on Lok Sabha election, basically, what Professor said, because they need space in Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. They want to share power there with these parties. So they are allowing them to play here on the cost of Congress party. You see, they may be supporting this movement, Congress party, not openly again. If you go by the statement given by Abhishek Manu Sangvi yesterday, he clarified that we are not supporting this movement, but yes, in democracy, upper caste also have right to say, right to raise their, but at the same time, you see, Congress party in Madhya Pradesh, for last 15 years, they are out of power. So if they are looking for some issue or the other, so this they think, you know, at this point, if upper caste, they come together and they show their anger against BJP, maybe they vote in the assembly election for BJP, but later in Lok Sabha election, they may turn towards Congress party.
So Congress is looking for the upper caste vote.
Yes.
Would it make sense having a non-upper caste as a chief ministerial candidate?
No, that is not the issue because they don't have. You see, that is the irony. Rahul Gandhi, when he formed the new AICC, all the tall Brahmin leaders are out of the party now. Even the Rajput. I mean, Digvijay Singh was the tallest leader, he is out of the party.
You got where I was heading with my question.
Yes, that's what I am saying. See, at the same time, there is contradiction. They are trying to woo upper caste voter, at the same time they have removed all the upper caste leaders from the party. So that is very difficult because when it comes to gain votes, you need leaders to mobilize. Who will get the vote for the party? Kamalnath, full name is Kamalnath Malhotra. They know it. In Madhya Pradesh also.
Okay. Radhika, last word from you.
Yeah, I think, both the Congress and the BJP look like they are going to fall between two stools. I mean, since we are focused on Madhya Pradesh, I'll stick to Madhya Pradesh because UP is a little far away. Sanjeev Acharya talked about Lok Sabha and Assembly. It's not a very smart strategy of the Congress. I mean, you have to prove a point by winning Madhya Pradesh. For God's sake, you've been out of power for 15 years and if you can't do a damn thing. I mean, in the intervening period, they have not promoted a single Dalit. They have not built an OBC leadership. I mean, it's not that there's, I'm sure if they look around hard enough, but and if they're talking about tribal leaders, they can only think of one Jamuna Devi. I mean, this is Congress is an
died now.
She's, late Jamuna Devi. But they haven't found an alternative even to Jamuna Devi.
Kantilal Bhuria.
Kantilal Bhuria, but he's not
strong,
even, doesn't even speak in parliament. He's not a very strong leader.
That's what I said, they don't want strong leaders from
so if you're going to look at the politics of patronage over empowerment, then you're not going to get very far in these states.
But that didn't work also because they appointed Arun Yadav as PCC chief in Madhya Pradesh. The organization completely,
Maybe they didn't give him that kind of freedom, the leeway that you need, I mean, the way the BJP treated all the Shivraj Singh Chauhan, Kalyan Singh, they treated them like kings and queens.
But finally, Devashish, a lot of people say, is this the BJP's Mandal moment?
Could be. I think if the opposition party thinks that it's the Mandal moment because I think Akhilesh Yadav made a Vishnu Mandir comment, then this Brahmin comment, and I think they are confused. They are confused that in no way and no out, if you try to woo upper caste voter, it will take you at least 5 years to gain their trust. They are going with BJP right now. If you have to win this election, please play on the issues of like the general issues, employment, economic, social upliftment. These are the issues which are going to gain you the power, not the religion.
Priya, I'm only saying that, I saw the reaction to the Supreme Court's very wise decision to scrap this absurd Section 377. There are many more absurd such sections in the Indian Penal Code, which I hope the Supreme Court will start scrapping. The country has changed. And it's very sad to see our politics go back to the pre-1991 period in which we are talking about caste and community and things like that. I find it's a kind of a regression that we are going into. And the reason for that is nobody has any good ideas on economic growth. Nobody has any good ideas on economic reform. Nobody talks about what is needed for comprehensively ensuring the country will grow at 11 or 12%. So it's a failure, frankly, that we are not 12%, we are just 7%. And this failure is leading to a coming back of this kind of politics. I think that's very bad for the country.
Thank you. Really summed it up well. I think at the end of the day, the real message is that our politicians are going back to the politics of old, politics of caste, politics of religion, because they don't have what really the people want to hear. What they've done on jobs, employment, what is needed to take the country forward. Well, we hope they learn something from this roundtable if they're hearing it. But thank you for watching this show. We'll see you again same time next week.